No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
The Steven Spielberg-directed Jurassic Park, based on the Michael Crichton novel of the same name, was released in 1993 to an overwhelmingly positive reception from critics and was adored by fans. The adventure had been 65 million years in the making and $65 million in the marketing. It hit theatres with a resounding roar, gobbling up $47 million opening weekend. Now that's pretty decent by 2014 standards, so adjusted for inflation, that's, well, let's just say shitloads more. To put it into context, the second highest grossing movie of 1993 was the Robin Williams comedy vehicle Mrs. Doubtfire. Wow, 1993 must have been a pretty barren year. That film opened to 20 million, however that was a comedy, so not a direct comparison, so that's unfair. I guess let's have a look. Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 opened the same year and only managed 42 million in its entire theatrical run. I know it was a piece of crap, but it was a family action adventure, so that is most comparable to Jurassic Park. Anyway, the film went on to break all records at the box office, and its innovations in CGI began a whole new era in filmmaking, both good and a bad thing. Since with this new CGI, before most directors knew what they had, they butchered it, overused it, and now they were selling it. I saw this film in a small cinema on the Channel Island of Jersey and remember the sheer excitement in the run-up to its theatrical release. I had the trading cards, the toys, the books, so basically anything and everything to give me an insight into what to expect. It was like having a snack in the lead up to Christmas dinner, just enough to keep the hunger at bay without ruining the appetite. Oh, and was the meal delicious. I left that theatre stuffed. I had truly witnessed my first masterpiece on the big screen. Much like Superman the movie had aimed to do in the 70s in making the audience believe a man could fly, the Jurassic Park team had made us believe dinosaurs were alive again. The phenomenal success of Dino-Mania meant that everyone knew that they would be getting a second bite of the dinosaurs. Now remember, back in my day, this was a time when studios didn't instantly snap a sequel into existence. Nowadays, oh man, I'm getting old using phrases such as nowadays and back in my day. Anyway, nowadays sequels are actually planned often before the original. No film, it seems, starts out as a standalone project. It's just a prequel to a threequel they really aim to make. So we were left to wait for some more dinosaur action. 4 years post JP, on a side note, we joke that anyone born in 1994 is actually the AJP gen, like the film was our second coming. Anyway, in 1997, Spielberg delivered The Lost World Jurassic Park, and the audience were initially responsive, flooding to see the second installment of the franchise happily handing over $72 million opening weekend. However, overall the film received a lukewarm reception and failed to match the original's worldwide gross, even with inflated ticket prices. It dropped off around $250 million. Even I was underwhelmed, and after about 15 minutes I took off my Jurassic Park cap and put down the Go JP foam finger away and settled into what was a pretty uninspired drab affair, full of bland characters and mediocre action. Okay, the action was decent, however, when you don't really care about the majority, if not all of the characters, then their fight for survival ends up about as fun as watching the same characters queuing for the vending machine while you watch a Toho Godzilla movie on the TV in the background. However, it was still the third highest grossing film of 1997, behind the very fresh Men in Black and the film every girl in the world went to see 8 times, Titanic. I only saw it 6 times, so I'm not a girl. So what next? Well, thankfully the studio has left it until 2014 and never attempted a third entry. It's a shame, as I would have thought we would be getting another Jurassic Park film before 2014. Okay, fuck it, there was a third film. Why are you making remember this? Jurassic Park 3 summary. No Spielberg, wasted Alan Grant, irritating sidecast, and a plot straight from a TV movie. Done. The film only managed $368 million worldwide in its entire run, almost half of what The Lost World raked in, and that was with 2001 ticket prices. Basically everyone hated it. Critics and fans agreed it was naff. It even ended up at number 9 in the box office charts for 2001. Now you may say, well, top 10 is still top 10. Well, that's true, it is top 10. However, when you come 2 places lower than Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor, well, that's a franchise killer. So now, 22 years, AJP, the 4th film, will tear into theatres in 2015. So what do we know so far? I'll break down some of the known facts into sections. Section 1. Location. The tourist attraction Jurassic Park was constructed by John Hammond's company InGen on Isla Nublar. Site B from The Lost World was located on Isla Sorna, which was a research and development facility. Isla Sorna was also our setting for Jurassic Park 3. So now Jurassic World takes us back to Isla Nublar and is set in a world where the attraction has been rebuilt and open to the public and operating for a number of years, receiving up to 10 million paying guests a year, and the park can charge the guests whatever they want to. InGen is no more and a new corporation is in charge, possibly with links to Biosyn and Lewis Dodson. The new corporation has opened the new park nearby the original, as according to sci-fi.com, the old visitor centre will feature at some point. Now, will the old visitor centre feature in a scene that is as simple as a discovery by a construction crew before the bulldozers move in, or will it be a hiding place, a sanctuary in a pivotal scene. We'll come back to the thought of sanctuary and hiding place as a photo released yesterday will be analysed in the characters section. Okay, so this is the map that will be guiding customers around the resort. It would appear that all visitor accommodation, etc. based around the central lagoon. However, notice the orange lines meeting in some form of hub at the top. Is this the transport hub that takes visitors to the rest of the park? It would make sense as most grand resorts require a form of mass transportation to ferry the large number of visitors around. So if these are shuttle bus routes or something else, does that mean that there is no longer a car tour? Sad times. And if there's 3 of them, does that mean that no one ever gets to go through the grand gates of Jurassic Park ever again? Or is that merely the actual main entrance to the park when you get off the ferry now? So for most of what has been leaked, the guests will be on less of a controlled safari as in the original film and be experiencing a more traditional zoo/SeaWorld style resort. Now we see from this photo that the star symbol at the top of the map is indeed a mass transportation hub for a monorail system. Damn, combining Jurassic Park with a monorail? What could possibly go wrong? Okay, so we've come this far looking a bit here and there about the park. So now we have Exhibit C. So the park has a golf course. Wow, yeah, I guess the world's wealthy can't be impressed by a T-Rex unless they have worked on their handicap first. I found this both dumb and clever at the same time, since I think it is dumb that this place would have a golf course. However, I know how seriously a lot of business people take their golf, and it is a family park, so therefore just because they are there with the family does not mean they care about being there to see the dinosaurs. They can go work on their short game, long game, some kind of golfing terminology while the wife and kids go and play with prehistoric predators. Dad of the Year award there. Okay, so away from the wide world of sports, we can see that the Avery concept from Jurassic Park 3 has been incorporated. So we can assume that the pterosaurs will have a double helping of guests and staff at some point. What's that? The egg spinner. Either that is where you go to see the dinosaur eggs or a non-copyrighted version of the teacups. The most interesting thing from this picture is the underwater observatory. This means that for the first time in the franchise we will see aquatic dinosaurs. Now I know, aquatic dinosaurs. We have been spoiled over the years with those wonderfully realistic asylum movies on sci-fi. So hopefully Jurassic World's attempt of these creatures will still have some more left and live up to our expectations with the high quality we've already seen. I mean, if you've seen one mega shark versus mega whatever, you've seen them all, right? Now, in seriousness, this is the most interesting prospect so far leaked. Think about it. Combine a mosasaurus in an aquarium that you get to go underwater to view, possibly in some kind of tunnel, with, if you look at the map, a water park, then, well, I'm going to have to see this film in 3D. If you are slow, that was a sarcastic dig stating that this setup could end up in a Jaws 3D rip-off scene. So finishing up with these pictures for this section, however they will be back at some point in further videos, we can see there is also a river cruise, providing a floating buffet for at least one lucky carnosaur. However, there is also one more thing that I'm really interested in, as I can see that this has been put in there purely for a tense action set piece. However, it also can be explained away very logically why this area exists. But first, Gentle Giant's Petting Zoo. Really? We are petting dinosaurs now. I mean, I know in the first film when Alan, Tim and Lex took a break in the treetops, they petted a Brachiosaurus and it sneezed gunk on them and we all laughed. It was a cute scene and gave us more development of Grant's character. So I can see the idea that they want to take the scene and recreate that sense of Spielbergian wonderment, and the next logical step is that the scene becomes an attraction in itself, as these are just big cows, and we all like cows. However, this does little to dispel the rumour that we will be seeing trained, tamed dinosaurs, but we will get to that again in characters. So yes, what I'm most interested in from this map is the inclusion of a bamboo forest. Why? Firstly, from a logical viewpoint, this makes sense, as bamboo grows extremely fast and they have a fuck ton of giant cows to feed. However, is that just the cover for the fact that this must end up featuring a scene similar to the long grass scene from The Lost World? I can see it now in my head, and damn, yeah, that could look pretty awesome. Imagine being stuck surrounded by bamboo and seeing the flicker of raptors encircling your dead ass. Okay, so section 2, dinosaurs. Well, it wouldn't be Jurassic Park without dinosaurs, would it? Even though it may have taken them 22 years to finally have dinosaurs on their dinosaur ride. So we know that we get the T-Rex, we get raptors, Mosasaurus, Triceratops, Gallimimus. Why? They pretty much served their part in the original. I'm not exactly crying out for more of them running around, and I'm also hoping they don't end up just doing a poor copycat scene with them. I'm especially hoping that no one jumps on the back of one and rides it to safety. Again, we'll get to that. Pachycephalosaurus. I'm not sure what this guy's going to be doing, but I reckon based on this picture, he may be having a strop at some point. Our pal Pachycephalosaurus also has an arena. So the question is, are they actually doing a prehistoric equivalent of cockfighting with the males? I'm no legal expert, nor am I an inspector for the Humane Society, but if this is the case, is that allowed? I mean, I'm not sure London Zoo would get away with an attraction that is basically just deer locking horns. Again, we'll have to wait and see. So then there is the Gentle Giant's Petting Zoo, so we can all assume the line up there. However, I really want to see a Stegosaurus have a ruck with a T-Rex, so hopefully they have a Stegosaurus. Now we come to the most contentious of issues surrounding the dinosaurs. Yes, the D-Rex, or Diabolus Rex, which is Latin for please eat my guests. So this cuttlefish, chameleon, red-eyed super predator is supposed to give the park an edge over all the other dinosaur parks. However, so far what we've seen, the new park's pretty spiffing. Based on what we know of the D-Rex, I'm guessing the new company that took over InGen is actually Weyland-Yutani, what of this kind of mindset. This is where I start to question the direction of this film, and begin to fear that it is not going to follow in Jurassic Park's footprints and more veer towards the aforementioned Jaws 3D and sci-fi territory. I just think that this is a dumb plot device that will have the characters either starting out as cartoon villains or suddenly switch from a normal bloke to Judge Doom. So anyway, Colin Trevorrow came out a couple weeks back to allay the fears of fans by stating that this new D-Rex is not a mutant freak and has been designed to logically fit into the Jurassic Park universe, explaining that in the original film the DNA had gaps which were plugged by amphibian DNA, so the geneticists are taking the next obvious step, since they are also research scientists and not just dino breeders. However, Trevorrow was quite clear that this genetic tampering was not like they were making dog dinosaurs or, God forbid, a human hybrid disaster like in Alien Resurrection. So this D-Rex is allegedly the mix of different species' defense mechanisms, such as active camouflage, entered into the genetic code of a mix of T-Rex and raptor DNA. So it begs the question, why? As previously stated, the D-Rex is aimed to thrill audiences and continue the resort's popularity. I just can't help but wonder that this creature would have been more suited to being bred and located on a Site B for study. Maybe they will introduce a subplot that will give a better understanding behind the motivation to create the D-Rex. We will look at this in the characters section with BD Wong. So from that, let's wait until we have a picture of this alpha psycho death monster before passing judgment and move on to some characters. Section 3. Characters. Island security. So basically these guys may as well all be wearing red shirts as their life expectancy is short. Now I'm hoping that they actually have one or two actual characters who we can connect with, and the island security don't just show up all credited with island guard number whatever and are merely dino fodder. I feel though they should be introduced and depicted as all douchebag jocks who deserve everything they get, but we still need to know who the hell is being crushed or eaten. At least give us some James Cameron 101 grunts. I mean, imagine a scene where this truck storms around and instead of going after the real dino threat, they start shooting at herbivores, ending up getting smashed up in a stampede with a Triceratops' horns impaling the vehicle and tossing it into a lake, and the occupants drown. Yeah, I hate these guys already. But imagine how good that scene would be with 30 large dinosaurs fending off half a dozen armoured trucks. Chris Pratt Owen. Now, Colin Trevorrow has come out and said that Chris Pratt is a behavioural analyst who has studied raptors and connected with their highly evolved intellect to determine the limits of human-raptor relationships. This statement was released by the director to dispel rumours that Chris Pratt had a posse of backflipping circus dinosaurs as his butlers. I also think that based on fan reaction, there are now a lot of people frantically rewriting scenes and setting up reshoots as we speak, as blatantly the filmmakers did have this idea and they thought it'd be awesome, but it actually turns out it, probably crap. However, will this still end up seeming like Chris Pratt Dino Whisperer? Trevor has already said that this is a dinosaur on dinosaur action film, so obviously D-Rex is going to be the bad dinosaur, even though apparently there are no good or bad dinosaurs, which is a fair point, as these are just animals trying to survive. However, there are good and bad people, and we are just animals trying to survive. So who is Chris Pratt? Well, from this photo, he's going to be the prehistoric world's answer to Diane Fossey. He will live with the dinos, talk to the dinos, and be the outcast, hence the cabin, and not taken seriously by the legitimate scientists on the payroll until all hell breaks loose. Oh, and he's a mobile, which means he's the cool Alan Grant. Pratt has even said that his character is the amalgamation of Grant and Malcolm. So again, we see a parallel with Jaws 3D. Chris Pratt could be Dennis Quaid's Mike Brody, and Bryce Dallas Howard could end up being Kay Morgan. I'm seriously worried about how many times I'm able to link this film to Jaws 3D. And to think, I was only joking that there wasn't a third instalment in 2001, considering Jaws 3D was the third in a franchise spawned from a Spielbergian masterpiece. Will Chris Pratt, aka Dr. Dudino, end up being less Alan Grant and more Braveheart? Will this film become a Dino Riders adaptation? Will we see him on his trusty Gallimimus steed rallying his dino troops for battle with blue and white war paint? Nah, I mean that's just ridiculous. Okay, so who else have we got so far? BD Wong returns as Dr. Henry Wu. He seemed like a decent enough fellow. Oh no, wait, this is rumoured to be our new Dennis Nedry. Merely speculation on forums and snippets on random sites. However, the thinking appears to be that there will be a strained relationship between Wu and his employers that will, if not directly, at least indirectly lead to disaster. Now this is where we discuss the D-Rex subplot I mentioned previously. Three options here, I think. Number one, BD Wong has a breakdown and actually creates a dinosaur that the executive running the show kind of asked for, but adds a little be careful what you wish for, additional aggression to the creature as a middle finger. Number two, the owners of the park also have a weapons division. Now, assuming that genetically engineered alpha predator bioweapon experiments are illegal or fail to receive Pentagon funding, the corporation decides to use the Wholesome Family Resort to secretly develop these D-Rexes and perfect the science and the creature's conditioning before unveiling them to the military. Number three option, people are just stupid and greedy and do this kind of dumb shit all the time. Now, a recent photo from the last few days leads to more speculation. Who are these guys? Well, according to IMDb, this is Zach and Gray, played by Nick Robinson and Ty Simpkins. Well, if anyone isn't looking at this picture and thinking these kids are lost in the park once the shit hits the fan and have to run from set piece to set piece in order to survive, well then why aren't you thinking that? So will these be the ones to seek refuge during their escape in the old visitor centre? Quite possibly. This is part 1 of where Jurassic World pretty much is right now, so check out part 2 as more pictures and plot points leak. I know I've not looked into every photo in this part for one simple reason. Wow, the employees have patches. What the hell can I really speculate from this? Thanks for watching. I hope you check out part 2 in a few weeks' time as we start talking more about the cast and looking at some more major plot points. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for sticking around. Now it might appear that I'm nitpicking this film, however I love Jurassic Park so much and I have been scorned so badly in the past by films promising to deliver things they don't. If you read the blog you will understand why I'm actually apprehensive. There's a full blog post written as soon as Jurassic World was announced, so read that to understand why I'm actually a little bit nervous about this film and some of the rumours we've looked at today. Thank you.